A very good afternoon from a very, very sunny eastern France here at Racing Kart JPR in Austricourt for the final concluding part of the opening round of the 2026 BNL Karting Series season. Well, we've hit the highs of around 14 to 15 degrees Celsius as we are primed and ready for our four finals. To see who will be the championship leaders heading into the next round of the calendar, which, as you just saw at the introduction, courtesy of our live stream through WFR Live TV, we will be heading to Marienborg in 4 weeks to the southern part of Belgium at the Corvin region, around about a 25 to 30 minute drive from Givet, which is just across the border from Philippeville in Belgium. So, engines are fired up, and here we go. It's time for the Minimax final. Joshua Cook is the current points leader after the opening score yesterday afternoon with 55 points. He lines up on pole position. Maria Roberto currently fifth in the standings on 48. She lines up alongside her KR Sport teammates on the front row. August Lickebo-Lingzo, Charlie Page, Arthur Bowers, who leads in mini rookie here today, starts on the inside of row number 3 with Malte Holm alongside. Tristan Abiel-Zanalo Gamble are next up with Lenny Barton and Rayan Townsend. Dayan Habits, who's currently third in the championship, starts alongside Teddy Murphy. Zain Safoglu, the second highest placed of our mini rookie drivers, will be joining Raphael Hardouin on that row. Maxime Ball and Jayan Prakash, Milo de Karlsmaker, Omar Mezzudielli, Chloe Malling Sorensen, Henry Moyart, Kan Aras Akun, Gabriel Wallet, Julian Janssen, Albie J. Stubbs, who is currently third on 50 points, starts all the way down in 24th. Evert van Middendorp starts 25th, and a big development. Post pre-final, Osterman excluded for being underweight, and that means the Sam Pollock Racing driver starts from stone dead last. He is currently 3 points behind Josh Cook in the battle for Mini. So without further ado, enough of you seeing my face, folks. Let's head trackside as we are getting underway with our 12 minutes plus additional lap final. So a big development for Austin Oman there. And it just goes to show one wrong thing happening might not go the way you intended. Arlo Gamble leads in Mini Rookie, the defending champion from last year. But more to the point, this is where it counts the most. 55 points for a win, 52 for second, 50 for third, 49, 48 to round out your top 5, and so on and so forth. So Josh Cook has the opportunity to have a maximum amount of points that will comprise of 110. Leaving here as the series leader. What can Austin Oman do from the back end of the field from stone? Dead last. Stick with us for 12 minutes, plus an additional lap in glorious sound and vision, live and direct on the YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And here we go. It's an all KR Sport front row as the Mini Max and Mini Rookie final goes from red. Do we go green? Yes, we are underway. The field makes its way into turn number 1 and to the inside. August Lickebo-Lingzo has just stolen the lead off of points leader Josh Cook. Roberto, someone's gone off at big speed at turn 2. Oh, someone has definitely had a drama. And that's Raphael Hardouin from France. Oh, that kart was nearly on the verge, and there is the 162 walking away from the kart. Oh, that was a big scare for the youngster from France. But I'm so glad to see Raphael walking away from the kart under his own power. Meantime, Josh Cook has retaken the race lead from August Liquibo-Lingzo. Maria Roberto in P3. As they cross the line to complete the opening lap, Arthur Bowers is currently P4, but Charlie Page up the inside. Did the 114 go through? The answer is yes. Arlo Gamble is probably just behind Tristan Abeels by a little bit. Lenny Barton has put the opening fastest first sector out of anybody in this race so far. But we are not out of the woods yet. Maria Roberto sees a bit of an opening. Nearly went for the move through into turn 8, but she knows that it's going to be a little bit of a longer fight. Longer strategy to be brought into play. She's got Charlie Page looking to her inside at the left-hander going down the hill into turn 11. And now Lingso from Denmark has proverbially become the cork in the Danish bottle of red wine. Figuratively speaking, folks. Not actually. However, the main thing is this is going to be a real fight. And now Maria Roberto makes this a KR Sport 1-2. Charlie Page up to third place. Lingso down to fourth. Lingso to the inside of Page through at turn 8. And that is going to allow Arthur Bowers to close on in the number 99. And right behind them is the 109, Tristan Abeels. And Leon Herbo's cheering on Diane Habits, who currently at the meantime is down in 9th place at the moment. But when I tell you this, Austin Oman has just made his way up to 18th position. Josh Cook is bolting away from Maria Roberto. And at this point, Roberto is about half a second ahead of August Liquibo-Lingzo. And George Palozzi cheering on Maria Roberto in the YouTube chat. This is where it's going to be very, very crucial. But the way that Josh Cook is pulling away comfortably. But hopefully he does not take too much life out of the tyres. Day and Habits battling away. That is Arlo Gamble in the 72. Closing in. Ryan Townsend has also made some moves up the order in the meantime. Townsend started P10, now runs P3. And another new fastest lap of the race from the 175, 1 minute 1.669. As there goes a move, Charlie Page runs a little bit deep, goes wheel to wheel with August Liquibo-Lingzo into the chicane at turn 9, but manages to hold firm and hold station. So Raphael Hardouin out of the race. It's been a drama for Zain Safoglu, the youngster from Turkey in the 54, has tumbled all the way down to 25th. Oh, and Dayton Habits has just struck trouble. Down to 15th goes the 131. And 15th is only 38 points. Now, the other driver I'm concentrating on a little bit here is LBJ Stubbs has just made up 12 places. Great work there by the youngster from the United Arab Emirates. And Austin Oman now has actually got past LBJ Stubbs. So this is really starting to heat up as things stand. And at the moment, well, as it is, Josh Cook would leave Marienburg with 110 points. Maria Roberto now in third place, puts her on 98. And Charlie Page in the 114 now moves up into second position. And that will put him on 96 points. And at the minute, well, if Maria Roberto went up into second, she would be exactly 10 points behind Josh Cook. We still have 5 minutes of this race, plus an additional lap still to go. But Joshua Cook is now 2.4 seconds up the road from Charlie Page. And at this moment, it is very, very crucial as Austin Oman. Oh, Oman has made an absolute charge. He's up 17, make that 18 spots. Austin Oman is absolutely flying. He's now up to 8th position, which is 45 points. That will put him on 97, one behind Maria Roberto, who currently sits in third place. But at the moment, well, Joshua Cook has stamped his authority on the Minimax division. And that all started from yesterday. He finished runner-up to Austin Oman in the pre-final. And Oman has just gone tied on points with Maria Roberto, 98 apiece. That's equal second. But through the double left-hander at turns 6 and 7. Looks very, very nice and comfortable for Page, Roberto, August Liquibolingzo. Might consider using this, well, using day one when August actually finished last in the race yesterday in the final. Consolidate your points, lick your wounds, and come back fighting stronger in 4 weeks. But still, nevertheless, there is plenty of this race left to go. For the drivers on the track, 2 minutes and 20 seconds plus an additional lap will feel like an eternity waiting to come to its conclusion. And with the lead between Josh Cook and Charlie Page, it's just under 2.95 seconds. Page makes his way through out of turn number 10. Down the hill we go here on lap 10 itself. Still plenty of slipstreaming opportunities around the circuit. There's also been an early exit for Miller de Karlsmacher, who is out after 7 laps of racing. Osterman is now up into 7th and he's closing in on Ray and Townsend. Well, as I say that, Osterman, look, he's just come across the line. He's just gone up to fifth position, which for Osterman is 48 points. That puts him ahead of Roberto in the standings. But he's dropped another couple of positions to Bowers and Townsend in the meantime, which, what does that equal? He's got to go for it if he's that hungry to do those kind of excursions that you've been talking about. It's better to make sure that your head is as light as anything when you have these opportunities to take a breath or so. But Josh Cook leads us on to the last lap of this race, so final lap board. So Osterman, who's not just made up 21 places to come across the line in P5. I don't think they'll want more. I know he'll want more than that. Every driver worth their salt knows that. And Osterman last time round set a as we come down to the inevitable end of this race. So the checkered flag has waved, and Joshua Cook takes a maximum championship score, leaving Austriacor. That's going to be 110 points. Charlie Page in P2, Maria Roberto in 3rd. Austin Oman, you had more than you already, Brett, this morning, I can tell. So Joshua Cook wins both finals here on the opening round of the weekend, the opening weekend of the season. Charlie Page P2, P3 Maria Roberto. That puts her in a very, very good place for 4 weeks' time. So Cook, Page, Roberto, and going down the respective lists. Austin Oman, August Licker-Bolingzo, Ray Townsend, Arthur Bowers, LBJ Stubbs, Lenny Barton, Julian Janssen, Malte Holm,
Why do you come here? Is this your career?
Or is it all about fun? A chance to get away and leave it all behind?
Or do you chase your personal best? Challenging yourself over and over again. Why do you come here?
Maybe you're here to collect moments. Good ones. And not so good ones.
Or you can't afford mistakes because you want that victory. It's all about this one moment when the hard work finally pays off.
This is the place that brings us closer to the people who share our story. Whoever we are,
Whatever we're here for, racing is who we are.
Kom op een beetje. Even leuke dingen doen. Dat dacht ik ja. De laatste nummer heeft van die band afgebroken dan, toch? Touw ze eraf, jongen. Touw ze eraf. Ja, kijk. Nieuwigheid. Ja. Heb je hem al ingeslepen? Nou, het is niet meer ingesprongen. Ja. Dat is al een beetje banaan. Was bij de coureur. Ja, precies. Ik kan hem dus horen. Huh? Sorry, na blijven denken.
And DD2 Masters Final. Len Nye starts from pole position and currently has the series lead on 55 points thus far after the opening final yesterday. Theo Lemoigne joins him on the front row. Ralph van der Pavet and Jim Ringelberg round out row number 2, and all Dutch row 2 thereof. Nicolas Guillaume and Christophe Capitat, the latter being the defending champion of the BNL Karting Series in Masters last year. That is row number 4. Theo Lang and Godfrey Salon ran at the next row. Gwen Vauxhall looks like she is in, and I'm not sure if there's been a problem, whether she's at the exit of pit lane once we get the rolling start formation underway. Pivin Rietman, Christoph Adams, Jort van Wyk and Yannick Jacobs will be starting from the back of the field. Hopefully you don't get too comfortable, because we might not have quantity, but we have the drivers just making sure that their carts are in working order. So Len Noyes continues to lead the way, and he's bolted into the distance ahead of the rest of the field as we are very shortly going to complete lap number 1. Jim Ringelberg going wheel to wheel coming out of turn 10 with Theo Lemoigne in the 4-3-5, who started on the outside of the front row. But Nicolas Guillaume is starting to catch Ralph van der Pavet. Len Noyes leads after the opening lap. Van der Pavet, Guillaume, Lang, Lemoigne, Ringelberg now drops down to 6th position ahead of Jort van Wyk, who finished 2nd in the final yesterday. And Len Noyes could do exactly what Josh Cook has done. If he takes both victories, that's 110 points. Going from here and heading into Marienborg between the 17th and the 19th of April, 2 weeks after Easter the Easter weekend. And Yannick Jacobs has just gone purple in the opening sector. I'm not at all surprised with the pace that man has. 2023 RMC Germany DD2 champion, vice champion in 2022 and 2024 in the same class. But it is going to get a little too close for comfort for those battling away from 2nd backwards. Geoffrey Sellon has now tumbled to the bottom of the field. Started 8th. Currently now runs P12. But as I said, this is a longer race. More strategy, more conservation of fuel, more conservation of tyres. It is bumpy and undulating here at this particular racetrack. The longest one on our calendar here in 2026. And great to be back after a couple of years away. So it's pick a card, any card. There's now Van Wyk to the inside. That is through on a few others. Theo Lemoyne rounding out your top six. Yannick Jacobs, who did not take part in the DD2 final. But a dive to the inside. Theo Lemoyne through on the 4-2-0. And that is going to be Theo Long, it looks like. Flurry of activity, and we haven't even gotten 5 minutes into this DD2 and DD2 Masters final. Ralph van der Paver leading the Stampex, basically representing that country, and they have done since a very young age. So still the racing continues on at full speed. Purple sector in sector 1 by Jort van Wyk. Theo Lemoyne, purple in sector 2. Fastest lap of the race goes to our race leader, Len Noyes, with a healthy 2.7 second advantage. You expect that to grow, and it does, because Jort van Wyk and Mika van der Pavet have now moved up into So Theo Lemoyne, now the fastest driver out on the track, 56.913. As some of them bump over the curbs. And that is not going to be easy for these drivers, because as soon as they catch some air underneath that chassis, you could find yourself airborne for a momentary lapse and then have that line of saying, well, I'll get to that in just a minute, because there is still quite a lot going on. Jim Ringelberg goes a little bit wide coming out of turn 13, the final right-hander that puts us back onto a different way of seeing things. And So, black and white warning flag that time, shown to Nicolas Guillaume, so race control keeping an eye on the how the drivers are taking the racing line. So, Guillaume at the moment is currently running P4. Yannick Jacobs, who I think might have played a nice little strategical coup. He hasn't been feeling too great today, so some muscle or nerve troubles maybe that might be hindering the man who took the Rotax Max Challenge Germany DD2 title back in 2023. He's got through on Theo Lemoine. He's made up 8 places. Gwen Block still do not take the start. And now Theo Lang is closing in on Jim Ringelberg, who I think might have just passed him. That will be for 6 on the road. Christophe Capitan is now 3rd behind Christophe Adams, and the pair are separated by just under 0.2 of a second. Ringelberg has gotten better and better in terms of being able to find the grip on the circuit where he needs it the most. And at this case, with now the air temperature being 15 degrees centigrade, sunny, blue skies up above, it's going to give him a real shot at extending his lead in the classification. Ralph van der Pavet just puts in a 56.374. The 468 from SP Motorsport, Mr. Mulletman himself, has been doing a really he's been working on his consistency, and I remember he was having some slight troubles last year, but the main thing is now that's all sort of water under the bridge. Jort van Wyk has now made his way up to P2. Ralph van der Pavet still holding on to 3rd position. So this just goes to show how quickly things can change. And now the SP Motorsport boys, Van Wyk leading Van der Pavet, 2nd and 3rd overall. They've got to try and close the 1.8 second gap in the next 4 minutes and 20 seconds, plus an additional tour. And even with the fact that this is the longest track that we'll be racing at this year, Champions Winter Trophy took place at Karting Genk. Then some drivers were pretty much straight over by about Tuesday. So, as I said, when you're running a 2-speed gearbox kart, well, 2-speed automatic, the app-operated paddles on the left and right of the steering, which I've seen in some cars before. Jort van Wyk in the meantime has gone purple in the opening sector, 15.233. He just set the fastest lap of the race, 56.369. Van Wyk continues to improve at this stage. Christophe Adams, he's had a shocker of a first sector, has the 555. Now the big thing is Christophe Adams has not broken the timing beam for sector 2, but he's just about to do so, heading to the chicane. But in some respects, it's always good that someone has been pushing really hard over the last 3 years. The time is ticking down. Len Nyes now only has a 1.6 second advantage. Make that 1.5 seconds over Jort van Wijk. Ralph van der Pavert holding on to P3, so a good solid run. That'll put him on 100 points. Len Nyes maximum score of 110. So, and then you look at what Van der Pavert will try and do. Van der Pavert currently sitting P3 in the standings. And if he gets another one, that'll be 100 points to his... Just over a minute to go. And the field is starting to really spread out at this moment in time. Len Nyes nearly a second and a half up the road from Jort van Wijk. Ralph van der Pavert, Nicolas Guillaume, Yannick Jacobs up from pretty much the 2 laps to remain in this second final. But the time waits, the stopwatch does not lie. You've got to put your best foot forward whenever you can. Len Nyes once again going through turn 7 and into turn 8. And Christoph Adams has called his race early, the 555. So 3 retirees, 2 from the Netherlands, 1 from this particular country and here in France. But Len Nyes is going to make his way out of the final corner. Final lap underway, and he's 1.5 seconds clear of Jort van Wijk. Van der Pavert P3, Guillaume, Jacobs, Lemoyne, Lang, Ringelberg, Capitan, Reitman, Adams, Geoffrey Sedlon, and Gwen Bloxheil, rounding out your 13 people that will be on the show Hunters. Sometimes to gain a skill set you need to train in another form or another way. But this is going to be a very crucial win. And at the moment, well, Jim Ringelberg has got some daylight between himself and Christophe Capitan. Last time around it was just over 3/4 of a second. And that's it, the checkered flag waves. Len Nyes takes the maximum score, leaving here in from Oosterschelde when we go to Marienborg in 4 weeks. Jort van Wijk takes P2 and sets the fastest lap of the race. And Jort van Wijk will put himself on 104 points. Ralph van der Pavert, that's a solid double top 3 finish. So 100 points for him. Nicolas Guillaume in 4th, head of Yannick Jacobs, who started from the back end of the field, finished in 5th, all things being considered. And after that, you've got Theo Lang, Jim Ringelberg, Christophe Capitan, and Pepin Reitman rounding out the 10 runners and riders that finished that race. Christoph Adams retiring with 5 laps still to go. Geoffrey Salon pretty much after the first 10 laps. The French driver will retire in the 410, and Gwen Bloxall opting to non-start the race. So that concludes that particular part of things are going on as we speak. As we'll let the highlights run here on the YouTube channel before we go to our penultimate final of the weekend. Coming up next, it's Junior Rotax Day 2, the final. So we go to Junior Road Tax this time. Yesterday, Matthias Verdaken did not make it through. He has made it through, but for Riley Morrow from Sam Pollitt Racing, the weekend has come to an end after the intermediate classification for the heats. But a very, very ultra competitive top 10 here, at least in the Junior Road Tax division. 37 drivers came here to battle away for points to start their path to Portimao. And it could be a very interesting one nevertheless. So when it comes to the points after the first score of the weekend and of the season, Kian Bernard is the points leader with 55 points. Luan Seidel and Alfie Ward round out the top three. Finley Lines and Harry Taylor round out the top five. But let's take you through your starting grid for what will be an exciting... as 2:15 has just had a bit of a spin around, I'm afraid. So, with regards to the grid itself for the final, it is going to be Kian Bernard versus Finley Lines on the front row of the grid. Louis Radcliffe and Jensen Chalk on row 2. Luan Seidel and Lucian Smith, row 3. Harry Taylor and Rados Pashku. Row 4 with Sebastian Clark and Alfie Ward rounding out the top 10. Lieke van Berkel and Finn Albert Jorgensen line up on row 6. Julian Dummer, Jensen Walker, row 7. Trent van Malik and Jette Moonen, row 8. Yanis Courage and Albert Friend round out row 9. Bruce Rambert and Leo Hardouin round out the top 20. Completing the 36-strong grid will be Sam Kohler, Matthias Verdaken, Augustin Hanik, Justin Fonk, Tobias Johns, Nathan Lecuro, Leon Herbos, Didier Didale, Dion Bracker, Loris Perron-Mousset, Ludwig Hansson, Roslan Straya, Max Bogsal, Ozhan Alpaslan, Lionel Maguire and Julian Vandenberger. Jos Stelman saying, come on, Jente Moonen. And so is giving the youngster from Belgium a bit of a cheer, so to speak. And the junior final yesterday was a rather exciting and dramatic race to conclude day one of the season. But Kian Bernard, could he follow in the footsteps of potentially Josh Cook, Len Nyes and Jim Ringelberg to be the winner in both races here this weekend, as the drivers will now head towards the final corner. Revs up. Lights on. 12 minutes plus an additional lap. The junior final gets underway right here, right now, in the words of Fatboy Slim. And to the inside stays Kian Bernard. Finley Lyons trying to go very aggressive on the outset. Going to the outside at turn number 1. Louis Radcliffe rounds out your top 3. Jensen Chalk. Oh no, Luan Seidel has caused cut. He got turned sideways, and there's a multi-card incident at turn 3. Oh, mamma mia is all I'm going to say about that one. And several drivers not having the greatest of luck. Luan Seidel compromised, Harry Taylor, Sebastian Clark, and it just goes to show how quickly things can be upset, as in the apple carts, and that's exactly what we have had happen here today. But Kian Bernard leads the way after the opening tour. Finley Lyons in second. Louis Radcliffe in P3. Lucien Smith, Alfie Ward. Then Lieke van Berkel, who's now up into 6th position, ahead of Julian Dummer. Finn Albert Jorgensen, Jensen Chalk. That is Pascu. So Didier Dadali, Yenthi Munin, Yanni Skorhaj, Nathan Lukiho, Leon Herbos and Ozhan Al-Paslan suffering drama. It looks like Justin Fonk might not have made it out of sector number 1. So Justin Fonk is out of the race itself. Meantime, we go through the chicane, and now it's going to be Bernard, Lyons and Radcliffe. Line astern, and they have broken away from Lucien Smith, who is 2 seconds behind them. The Q-Hall gets a black and white warning flag, but for the lead goes Finley Lyons past Kian Bernard. And that was at turn 12. This is going to be a feisty one here in eastern France at Austricourt. Bernard goes to the inside. Radcliffe's going to stay at his wheel tracks. They're both through on Finley Lyons, or are they? No, not quite. Radcliffe had to get out of there. Oh, we've got another incident at turn 3. Yellow flags were waving again. Maybe, it could be Jensen Walker in the 226. As good to see Jesse van Bokel cheering on Lieke, who's currently P7 at the moment. Lieke's currently up 4 places. Luan Seidel has now recovered to come up to 8th place, having gone over the line in 12th and a drop from 5th position at the start of the race. But it is a frantic, frenetic top 3 that are leading the way. Bernard, Radcliffe, Lyons, now Dummer up to P4. From 13th on the grid, he's got Lieke van Berkel for company. And Alfie Ward, oh no. Alfie Ward has suffered drama. And he's not the only one. More than likely, Lionel Munguia's had drama in the Redeka 209 entry. Roslan Stria, the youngster from Algeria, the younger sibling of Daniel, has made up 11 places. Just put in the fastest lap of the race, a 59.135. Loris Perron-Mousset up 14 places. Tobias Johns up 10. Ludwig Hansen up 13. Dion Bracker up 10. Max Bogstal up from 33rd, as now we have got the following retirements: Justin Fonk, Jensen Walker, Lionel Munguia and Alfie Ward. Finley Lyons, however, is one of the fastest drivers out on track, as Jensen Chalk now takes the fastest lap of the race. 58.5 seconds, dead on the nose with 2 zeros for the decimal points. Change for the lead here at turn 3. Radcliffe is through. Lyons goes wheel to wheel with Bernard for the briefest of moments. So this is going to be a rather, as I said, it could be a very dynamic race, and it's already become that. And at the moment, Kian Bernard currently is on what would be 107 points if it was to finish right here, right now. Finley Lyons would be on 104 points. So it's nip and tuck. And now here comes Lines. The inside of Bernard through. He goes. Does the 281. That's for second position. And now Lines to the inside of Radcliffe. Lines now leads Bernard through for second. It's like the three drivers are battling over the last swing in the children's playground, and neither of them seems to have the able to secure the advantage. But with Finley Lines, that'll now make it 104 to him. With Kean Bernard, I think being the championship, could be the championship leader more than likely, with 107 points. So 55 for winning the final yesterday, and 52 here in the second final of the weekend. 6 minutes down, 6 to go, plus an additional lap. And there is so much action that is happening at the moment. Dion Bracker's just dropped down to 22nd, but the top three cannot be separated. You can cover them with a... Oh, and Dion Bracker has tumbled. Don't tell me Dion Bracker is not going to make it to the end of this race. And there is the 261. Oh, yeah. The Dutch driver is out, walking away from the kart, and I would imagine a very, very disgruntled individual, to say the very least. And yellow flags for where Messrs. Lines, Bernard and Radcliffe have gone through. That's at turn 10. And now down the hill they can start pushing again. Oh dear. Nathan Nicuro, I'm not sure. Well, there is somebody... there is... obviously, Dion Bracker has stopped out on circuit. And there's a few other drivers who will not be having fond memories being here at Austricourt. Albert Friend at the moment, now up 8 spots. 58.058 is his lap time. Albert Friend, in the meantime, as I said, he's been setting some pretty good times. So we will see if the consistency and the flexibility to be able to try and get those moves done, or maybe to inform somebody about something. But at the moment, Finley Lines has got to hold on as long as he can. A big shout out to Sue Shields, who's been messaging me on Facebook. Yes, it'd be lovely to see you and Barry at one of the rounds later on this year. You've got until October the 4th to make that happen. But nevertheless, Finley Lines has really started to find his rhythm. And obviously when you're battling against another 36 other junior drivers, you've got to have that... as I said, it's the passion, it's the motivation, it's the will to compete. But then you've also got to look at the bright side. Family, friends, teammates. There's so many people that are involved behind the scenes here that are unsung on many occasions. But Finley Lines has got to be very, very careful, because Louis Radcliffe, given an inch, he will jump and take a mile. So how is this going to play out over the next 2 minutes and 10 seconds, plus an additional lap? Let's find out together. So Alfie Ward is out. Dion Bracker is out. Down to 31 runners and riders we go. Fastest lap of the race now goes in the hands of Finn Albert Jorgensen. 57.964. Pretty good lap there for one of the youngsters. This battle at the front end of the field. Radcliffe versus Lines. So we are going to have 3 more laps remaining in the Junior Rotax final here for day 2. And now Radcliffe has got to watch out because Finley Lines might throw a dummy, might throw a possible move that you might not see coming, or play it safe. He's playing it safe at the moment, but now the under-over happens and Lines gets through as Finn Albert Jorgensen sets the new fastest lap of the race, 57.850. But at the moment, well, Louis Radcliffe, once he gets the bit between his teeth, he's not going to take a second bite and look around and then take another one. No. And it's also the same with keeping these carts as best pristine as you can, isn't that right? Where you got a lot of graphics to deal with on some of the side pods, or there's ones where you actually have to fit your own. Is that not a question you can answer? Meantime, Radcliffe and Lines, ding ding, seconds out. Put it on my tab. Timer has hit 0 as the leaders make their way through into turn 6 and turn 7. And now Bernard is right with them. They're going to go through into the infield section, and then they're going to go through down towards the to the very, very compact and bijou, despite it takes out a lot of items, but Lines still holding on to that second position ahead of Louis Radcliffe, and Radcliffe now gets back through on Lines. That's a change for P2. Into turn 3 we go. Could this open the door for Jensen Chalk? He's going to try, but thought better of it. I'll just hold back until the next event I do for Rotax. So I'm just letting him. But this has been an absolutely captivating race. We have had some dramas where Ruslan Slyer from Algeria is the only driver that has, well, is the only driver at the back end of the field. Lieke van Berkel, I'm afraid to say, has just retired as well. So drama for the young lady for SP Motorsport. But out of the final corner, Kian Bernard does the double here at Austricourt. He gets the maximum score. And all out of the final corner, Julian Dummer goes a little bit exit stage left, but it is Finley Lines who will take P2, and with it comes 52 points. Louis Radcliffe rounds out your top 3. So, Kian Bernard, after 20.3 kilometres, rules the roost in the finals for 2 days in a row, winning by nearly 2 seconds ahead of Finley Lines. Louis Radcliffe rounds out your top 3. Finn Albert Jorgensen and Jensen Chalk ran out the top 5. Harry Taylor, Albert Friend, who made up 11 places to finish 7th ahead of Luan Seidel. Julian Dimmer, Sebastian Clark completes the top 10. Trent van Malik, Sam Kohler, Rares Pascu, Loris Perron-Mousset, Ludwig Hansson, The latter two made up the top 15 and they both gained 16 places apiece. Lucien Smith, Leo Hardois, Max Bogsal, Didier Dodale and Yanis Corrage ran out your top 20. 29 made it to the checkered at the end of it all when it was said and done. Matthias Verreken, Leon Herbos, Augustin Hanik, Jent Themunen, Bruce Ramboa, Yilan Vandenberger, Tobias Johns, Ozhan Al-Paslan and Nathan Nukuho round out the 29 finishers. Retiring from the race, Roslan Saraya, Lika Van Berkel, Dion Bracker, Alfie Ward, Lionel Munguia, Jensen Walker and Justin Funk. Will leave you folks at home to watch the highlights of a very entertaining Junior Rotax final. But up next, the last and final race of the weekend before we head to Marienborg in 4 weeks' time. It's the top 36 Senior Rotax final for day 2 coming up next. So we come down to the last race of the weekend, and unfortunately 6 drivers were unable to make it through to the top 36. So Raymond van Beek, Koen Willems, Liam van Hekke, Victor Galmiche, Ryan Bourguignon and Tino Potier unable to make it through to the final stage of this weekend. More to the point, it brings to what will be hopefully a fantastic way to end this weekend here at Ostricourt for the opening round of the 2026 BNL Karting Series season. There is a mechanic with a trolley jack. I think that's probably to pick up the stricken 285 Kart Republic chassis of Lieke van Berkel. And there is Lieke. Helmet on. Top part of the race suit down by her legs, so helping her mechanic to get the carts on the trolley jack, which then means that we are able to have a clear dummy grid in pretty much its entirety. So at the moment, in terms of the senior Rotax side of things, following on from day one, in the final, Thijs van Wijk took the initial lead in the championship, 3 points ahead of Vince van der Halle. Tom Langlois rounds out the top 3 ahead of Scott Marsh, Bastien Mesniel, Raphael Moreau, Macaulay Bishop, Ryan Bourguignon, Bran van der Weken and Lars Lambers. However, Bourguignon will not take part in this race. However, it's 15 minutes plus an additional lap to conclude the opening weekend of the season here at the BNL Karting Series for 2026. Let's take you through the starting grid for your top 36 final. On pole position, it's KR Sports' Harry Freeman, and it's a KR Sport front row courtesy of Ryan Gandor from Canada. Macaulay Bishop and Bran van der Weken line up on row 2, with Charlie King and Max Siderski row 3. Lars Lambers and Raphael Moreau ran out row 4 with Sverre Ubben and Tino Sidler completing the top 10. Antoine Lemieux and Matthias Jellerup, row 6. Vince van der Halle and Tom Langlois, row 7. Scott Marshall and Ado Koenice, row 8. Row 9, Thijs van Wijk and Boris Verhaag. Row 10 completing the top 20. It's the UK's Callum Sims from Downhill Racing and Arnold Sabarin from Canada representing Team KR Sports. Kenneth van Merkerke, Krit Knoren, Danny Shields, Antoine Tarrant, Bastien Mesniel, Vic van Kampenhout, Rein Vandermeer, Louis Oliver Gunther, Arav Dewan, Ye de Riscard, Luca de Moitru, Conor Large, Priam Lelang, Boaz Maximov, Augustin Boulet, and Thomas Verheyen bringing up the rear of the field. As Roy de Jonge, good to have you in the chat, Roy, cheering on Boaz Maximov. So time to get yourselves ready, strap yourselves in. It's Harry Freeman and Ryan Gander on the front row for the top 36 final. Revs up, lights on. We go green here for the final time for round 1 here in Ostricourt. And it's an even start by the 2 on the front row. Gander will lose out. Macaulay Bishop to the inside takes away P2 from the Canadian. As it's a big run and a lot of speed, but there's someone off in the background. Oh, that might have been a Sodi kart. And that is... Oh, don't tell me that's Tom Longnoir, is it possibly? Yes, it is. Tom Longnoir, the runner-up from last year in the championship standings, is out before he's even gotten to turn 3. And there's somebody else, Vic van Kampen, out on the Pantano chassis. The young Belgian is also out on the opening tour. Drama within the first 45 seconds. And I think Matthias Jellerup has also struck trouble, the Dane. And Jellerup has just only broken through into sector number 3 and is slow. Meantime, at the front of the field, it's Harry Freeman versus Macaulay Bishop, who's trying to find a way past. Ryan Gander not too far behind in P3. So Luka Demoitsu and Boris Maximov non-starting. Bishop on the offensive. Here comes Ryan Gander. Oh dear, the back axle might be a bit bent on that 353. So Matthias Jellerup will now retire from the race. We are down to 31 drivers, rounded out by the Netherlands' Boris Verhaag. Max Swiderski, who tumbled down 13 positions, has just put in the fastest opening sector of the race. Bastien Mesnil from Dams Racing, who was a lot higher up yesterday, has just posted the fastest middle sector. Macaulay Bishop has the fastest lap of the race. And now it's a quintet of karts at the front end, because joining Gander, Bishop and Freeman are King and Sidler. And this is going to be in a severe dogfight at the front end of the field. 12 3/4 minutes plus an additional lap remaining in this senior Rotax final. Adav Dewan has now just put in the fastest lap of anybody. 58.178 by the Indian driver. As to the inside, that's Bishop through for the race lead at 7. Turn 7, the defending champion makes the move for the race lead and gets through on Ryan Gander. And get this, top 26 across the line, rounded out by Bastien Mesnil after the opening 2 laps, covered by 6 1/4 seconds. And believe you me, we are only getting started. There are so many battles up the order. Lado Kuhanidze has just tumbled all the way down to 18th. Gander and Freeman, they're trying to do a bit of a WWE tag team thing here against Macaulay Bishop. Freeman to the outside of Gander. Here comes Charlie King. Here goes Tino Sidler. As Boris Verhaag sets the fastest lap of the race in 30th position. Hjalmar Isgard is also out. Down to 30 we go. And that's within the first 3.5 laps. Macaulay Bishop is going to try and see if he can break the toe early. So Bishop will now lead us on to lap number 5 of this race. His advantage over Ryan Gander, 0.36 of a second. Charlie King and now Sidler versus Freeman. It's an inter-team battle there between the 2 KR Sport drivers. As we see in the back of shot, the stricken Sodi kart of G-Kart 53's Tom Longnoir from France. Several drivers have made up some big positions. Scott Marsh up from 15th at the start, now runs 7th. Thijs van Wijk, he's up 9 spots from 17th. Callum Sims started 19th, now up to 10th. Arnold Sebaha rounding out the top 20 at the start, and the lowest placed of the 3 Canadians on this grid has made up 8 positions. Bishop is starting to try and pull a gap. And it's gone up to 0.388 after 5 laps. And Thijs van Wijk just sets the new fastest lap of the race. 57.248. Oh, and there's a little bit of argy-bargy. It was a little bit of tyre wall rubbing there going through out of turn 3. And Sverre Ubben in the 3.48 is now up from 9th to 10th, from 10th to 9th. But Bishop trying to hold on. 9 minutes and 20 plus an additional lap still left to go here at Oosterhout to conclude what has been an absolutely pivotal and captivating opening round of the series for 2026 on the road to Portimao. But Ryan Gandor is not letting Macaulay Bishop get away. The gap is just under 2 tenths after 6 laps, under 3 tenths after 6 laps. Tino Sidler, however, has made up 7 places. He is now in P3 as Harry Freeman dived just so briefly to the inside of Charlie King and has gotten the move done. Thijs van Wijk is now catching them up. And Van Wijk is already up 11 positions. Talk about more than damage control. It's how to undo the all the heartache that has happened earlier on in the day and try and convert it into something a lot more positive. Kenneth van Mokerker, in the meantime, has dropped down to 30th position. So 30 out of the 36 are still running. Bishop still leads as we are just 30 seconds away from half-time. That's after 5 laps that Bishop's led. Gandor and Sidler waiting for their opportunity to strike. Sverre Ubben from GKS Lemons Power now up into 6 behind. The 3.69 of Thijs van Wijk. But at the moment, so you know, I've seen many a time before with Macaulay Bishop that he does keep his, you know, he does keep his racing very much separated. As soon as he gets in that race suit, puts that race helmet on, sits in the kart, it's now time to enjoy what you love doing is your passion. Ryan Gandor and Tino Sidler, and then also Harry Freeman are the top 4. So it's going to be crucial on how these drivers respond to different things around a racetrack, I would imagine, in the next couple of weeks or so. But still, the top 4, the top quartet, cannot be separated at this juncture. And still, Macaulay Bishop, with that unique driving style of his, he's leading in through on certain corners to the left-hand side. And then sometimes maybe also the inside as well. Another change. Gandor being passed by Sidler. But there are just so many dogfights. It can be quite difficult at times to watch. Scott Marsh drops behind Sverre Ubben, who moves up to 5th in the standings. Arnold Sabah, 9 years, 11 plus 9. Do the math. However, at the front end of the field, we are seeing changes aplenty. Ryan Gandor now in 2nd position. But still, with this amount of time left on the ticker, I would not count anything out yet. It's always that small window of opportunity that someone will have, and it becomes a bit of an eyesore, or it doesn't really help the person that they tried to throw the move onto. Bishop is now having to defend. Gandor right with him. Sidler now with him. Ubben, Freeman, Marsh. Van Wyk, Kong and King and Lambers and Sims ran out your top 10. But still, 1/3 of the race left to go. Bishop still leads the way. And when we get to this point in the race, that's where you can tell a little bit of well, you can't really tell the story because you're not you're part of the story indirectly. But you can get an understanding that sometimes these drivers will want to go out there and race their hearts out. They want to get the opportunity to qualify for the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals. So 4 1/4 minutes remaining on the timer. A few drivers have lost positions. Thomas Verheyen up from 36 and stone dead last. Now runs 20th as they go into turn 3. As Scott Marsh dives to the inside of Tino Sidler. Sverre Ubben manages to get his elbows out and go through. Very, very careful with that curbing coming out of turn 7. Like I said earlier on this weekend, Morgan Riche caught the lower edge of his front bumper onto the curbing, and then it just basically went wobble, wobble, whoops. That can happen, but with the advent of technology, safety and technology being amalgamated in some respects through the modicum of motorsport, someone's just had a big old off, and that was, I'm wondering who that was. I think that might have been Danny Shields, possibly. So we're coming down to the final, just under 3 minutes plus an additional lap of the race meeting here at Karting Racing Kart JPR. Okay, so still 30 drivers now, rounded out by the 332 of Rein van der Meer from the Netherlands. So Scott Marsh has called the cavalry. One from his old hunting grounds, KR Sport, and then, yeah, you might be right with regards to certain things that happen, folks, but as you can see, around the outside, Sverre Ubben trying to get through on Scott Marsh. Tino Sidler waiting to pick up the pieces. He's not going to be able to get through there. And that was at turn 4. Now into 6 and 7. As I would imagine we might have another 3 laps to go. We're currently on lap number 14 of this race. Don't know what's happened with Louis Oliver Günther. The Bishop is now starting to pull away up the road. He's 2.1 seconds in front of the 347. Dive to the inside of Sverre Ubben. That was Tino Sidler. And now we're going to see Sverre Ubben do a brilliant job. He's now up another class. He's just got through on Tino Sidler's Casio. But Macaulay Bishop is the defending champion, not just of the BNL Karting Series, but also last year's Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals. It's going to be it's going to be 2 more tours to go, as Macaulay Bishop will cross the line to start the lap. So the drivers now are counting down the seconds as we are coming to the end of this race meeting, and a dive to the inside, and that was on Tino Sidler. That was Lars Lambers. That allowed Charlie King to get through for P3. Timer has officially expired, and Macaulay Bishop, he is away and cleared to the tune of 2.7 seconds. He's making his way towards turn 10 as we speak. And to cap off the weekend, how's this a way to start your title defence in 2026? Because when it was all said and done, down towards the final corner we go. Last lap is underway, lap 17 out of 17, and still the frantic battling, the pack racing that we have seen has continued at breakneck speed here at Racing Kart JPR in Ostrico. Macaulay Bishop knows that he has pretty much got this one right here, right now, in the bag. What can you say? This driver here, Macaulay Bishop from Hoddesdon in Hertfordshire, has put on an exemplary performance. There's Scott Marsh, who's going to make it more than likely a British 1-2, and he's been quickly caught by Sverre Ubben, but through in towards the downhill section for the final time. What a drive, what a performance. The defending champion, Macaulay Bishop, wins the final on day 2, and it's a British 1-2 with Scott Marsh edging out Sverre Ubben for the runner-up step on the rostrum. And Charlie King takes P3, one step away from the podium was the Strawberry Racing driver Tino Sidler, Lars Lambers, Callum Sims, and a few other drivers thereof, where you'd have the likes of the 369 Taze van Wyk, yesterday's winner. So Dan Holland Racing pick up the victory in both finals. Van der Halen, Mahal, Van der Weken and Gandor round out your top 12. Then going over the page, we go from 13th to 24th. Harry Freeman, Antoine Lemieux, Sabohan, Kluren, Verheyen, Shields, Dewan, Taron, Verhaag, Conolage, Ladoko, Hanitze and Augustin Boulet round out the second page out of 3. Kenneth Mokoka, Rein van der Meer, Bastien Mesnil, Priam Lelang, Louis Oliver Gunter, Max Sadurski and Hjaldi Risgaard being the last of the classified finishers. We also lost Matthias Jellerup, along with Tom Longnoir, Vic van Kampenhout with Luca de Moitster and Boaz Maximov, unfortunately not taking to the start. Once again, Senior Rotax, as it normally does, delivers on every single level when you consider how busy this track can be. But great close quarter battling, but unfortunately it all started with dramas at turn 3. And several drivers going off, kicking up the dust on the exit of the corner. But one of the biggest dramas was that for the 355 of G-Kart 53's Tom Longnoir. After that happened, well, the battle lines were drawn. Gandor versus Freeman, with Bishop sandwiched in the middle. Bishop would take the lead. Lemieux would go off track coming out of the final corner. And then there were so many contretemps, too many tete-a-tetes to keep an eye on in this final race of the weekend here at Ostrico. Charlie King battling away with the likes of the 378 and also the 342 of Lars Lambers. And that being Harry Freeman in the 378. Tino Sidler also got his elbows out for many a time, but Macaulay Bishop would power away into the distance and take another commanding victory. Lars Lambers and Tino Sibber were nearly interlocked wheels and Charlie King would make his way through. But nevertheless, that is, as they say, is that, folks. So I'm gonna try and readjust. I'm gonna sit down for a moment because I had to stand up in that race. It was absolutely crazy. But you know what, folks? That has just been the first chapter out of 4 that we are going to write on the path to Portimao as we head towards the 2026 Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals at the Catedral Internacional do Algarve in Portimao in southern Portugal. It's a circuit that has hosted the Grand Finals and is the spiritual home of corridas who, along with Rotax, they organise the Grand Finals. It is one of the most colourful, one of the most beautiful events, and it is an event where every single driver qualifies through national, international events and championships. So, the sun is still shining here on late Sunday afternoon on the 22nd of March. But the next step on the calendar for the BNL Karting Series in 2026 sees everybody move to the southern region of Cauvin in Belgium, 25 minutes off of the French border, as we head to another great and world-recognised circuit that has seen the who's who of Formula One talent go through its hallways, the Karting de Fagnes International Raceway at Marienburg. And that will take place on the 17th to the 19th of April 2026. We have a few thank yous to say. We want to say a big thank you to everyone that has watched all our live coverage on the BNL Karting Series YouTube channel throughout the weekend as of yesterday morning. We have to say a big thank you to the men and women of the Orange Army, to the entire marshalling team here at the circuit, for their assistance, along with the medical team, recovery team. Also, the people behind the scenes that have made this happen. Live timing, scrutineering, tyre bay, park for May. Then also with that, stewards panel, race control, race direction, timekeeping, administration, and so many other people. We, on behalf of the BNL Karting Series, would like to say a very, very big thank you to Racing Kart JPR in Austricorps, who celebrate their 30th anniversary this year, who have welcomed us back after 3 years since 2023 to come back here to race. Also, a big thank you to everyone that has interacted with us on social media, on Facebook and on Instagram over the entire weekend. Your support is greatly appreciated. For further information, head to bnlkartingseries.com to find out when the next dates are and also how you can get involved. Finally, a big thank you to our live stream production team, courtesy of WFR Live TV. My name's Alex Goldschmidt. Thank you so much for joining us over the course of the weekend, and we will see you in 4 weeks' time when we go to Marienburg. Goodbye, and have a lovely remainder of your Sunday afternoon. We'll see you next time.